Jamunatira Vanachari Jamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Jasoda Nandana Vrajana Ranjana Jasoda Nandana Vrajana Ranjana Jamunatira Manachari Jamunatira Manachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're reading third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 24, text 46. Atmanam Sarva Bhuteshu Bhagavantam Avastitam Apashyat Sarva Bhutani Bhagavati Api Chatmani Atmanam Sarva Bhuteshu Bhagavatam Avishtitam Apashyat Sarva Bhutani Bhagavati Api Chatmani Atmanam Sarva Bhuteshu Bhagavatam Avishtitam Apashyat Sarva Bhutani Bhagavati Api Chatmani Atmanam Sarva Bhuteshu Bhagavatam Avishtitam
Bhagavantam Avastitam
Apashyat Sarva Bhutani
Apashyat Sarvbhutani Bhagavat Chatmani. Atmanam Sarvabhuteshu Bhagavantam Avastitam Apashyat sarva bhutani
Apashyat sarva bhutani
Bhagavadyapya chatmani
Bhagavati api chatmani
Atmanam sarvabhuteshu
Atmanam sarva bhuteshu
Bhagavantam avastitam
Bhagavatam avishtitam
Apashyat sarvabhutani
Apashyat sarva bhutani
Bhagavatyapi chatmani.
Bhagavati api chatmani.
Atmanam sarvabhuteshu
Atmanam sarva bhuteshu
Bhagavantam avastitam
Bhagavatam avishtitam
Apyashat sarvabhutani
Apashyat sarva bhutani
Bhagavati api chatmani.
Bhagavati api chatmani. Okay, online chanters.
Maharaj can chant online. Okay,
Atmanam
Maharaj.
sarvabhuteshu Atmanam sarvabhuteshu Bhagavantam avastitam
Bhagavantam avastitam
Ashat sarvabhutani
Pashyat sarva bhutani
Bhagavatyapi chadmani
Bhagavadyapya chatmani
Atmanam sarvabhuteshu
Atmanam sarva bhuteshu
Bhagavantam avastitam
Bhagavantam avastitam
Pashyat sarvabhutani
Pashyat sarva bhutani
Bhagavatyapi chatmani.
Bhagavadyapya chatmani
Atmanam sarvabhuteshu
Atmanam sarva bhuteshu
tam avasthitam
Bhagavantam avastitam
apashyat sarvabhutani
Apashyat sarva bhutani
bhagavati api chatmani.
Bhagavadyapya chatmani. Devotees can go.
Atmanam sarvabhuteshu
Atmanam sarva bhuteshu
Bhagvantam avasthitam
Bhagavantam avastitam
Apashyat sarvabhutani
Apashyat sarva bhutani
Bhagvatyapi chatmani.
Bhagavadyapya chatmani.
Atmanam
Teju
sarvabhuteshu
Atmanam sarva bhuteshu
Bhagavantam avastitam
Bhagavantam avastitam
Apashyat sarvabhutani
Apashyat sarva bhutani
Bhagavatyapi chatmani.
Bhagavadyapya chatmani.
Atmanam
Atmanam sarvabhuteshu
Atmanam sarva bhuteshu
Bhagavantam avasthitam
Bhagavantam avastitam
Apasasya sarvabhutani
Apashyat sarva bhutani
Bhagavatyapi chatmani.
Bhagavadyapya chatmani.
Atmanam sarvabhuteshu
Atmanam sarva bhuteshu
Bhagavantam avashtitam
Bhagavantam avastitam
Apashyat sarvabhutani
Apashyat sarva bhutani
Bhagavatyaphi chatmani.
Bhagavadyapya chatmani. Ready.
Okay, ready? Word by word saying. Atmanam.
Go ahead.
The super soul.
the super soul,
Sarvabhuteshu,
Sarvabhuteshu,
in all living beings.
in all living beings,
Bhagavatam,
Bhagavatam,
the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
the Supreme Personality of Godhead,
Avishtitam,
Avastitam, situated,
Abhashat,
Apashat, he saw,
Sarvabhutani,
Sarvabhutani,
all living beings.
all living beings,
Bhagavati,
Bhagavati,
in the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
in the Supreme Personality of Godhead,
Api,
Api, moreover, Cha, and
Atmani,
Atmani,
on the Super Soul.
on the super soul.
Translation and purport by Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. He began the Supreme Personality of Godhead is seated in everyone's heart, and that everyone is existing on him, because he is the super soul of everyone. Purport: that everyone is existing on the Supreme Personality of Godhead does not mean that everyone is also Godhead. This is also explained in Bhagavad Gita. Everything is resting on him, the Supreme Lord, but that does not mean that the Supreme Lord is also everywhere. This mysterious position has to be understood by highly advanced devotees. There are three kinds of devotees: the neophyte devotee, the intermediate devotee, and the advanced devotee. The neophyte devotee does not understand the techniques of devotional service, but simply offers devotional service to the deity in the temple. The intermediate devotee understands who God is, who is a devotee, who is a non-devotee, and who is innocent, and he deals with such persons differently. But a person who sees that the Lord is sitting as Paramatma in everyone's heart, and that everything is depending or existing on the transcendental energy of the Supreme Lord, is in the highest devotional position. Yeah, so that's nice. That's what they were explaining to me when I first joined the movement. The pure devotee, he doesn't see any distinction. He just sees everyone as a devotee. You know, we see everyone maybe potential brahmanas, persons for potential devotees. We see persons, oh man, we're not getting anywhere with this person or these people, right? You know, so we make distinctions. And then the neophyte, they just see the Lord in the temple. So those who are like a little advanced in personalists, they go, well, the Lord's everywhere. Okay, so if the Lord's everywhere, then why not worship the Lord in the temple? Or go see the deity form. If he's there too, right? So yeah, that's the whole thing. Not some sort of thing on meditation on something impersonal or void. You know, the meditation is described as meditating on the personal forms of the Lord. So that's what I'm listening to. So right now, Karnamuni, he got this information from Kapila Dev, what Kapila Dev's future activities are going to be. He's going to describe the glories of devotional service to his mother, Devahuti, and deliver her from bondage of the material tabernacle. And Karnamuni, he left home. And so now he's seeing everyone with equal, was it Darshani? Sama Darshana, yeah. These with equal vision, seeing a dog and a dog eater and a brahmana and a cow. But, so there's the picture, there's the tree and there's super soul, and there was super soul and there was super soul, right? So there it was then all the hearts. Yeah, did I mention this before? It's like the lady, she's pushing the baby basket. So she's got the kids, and the baby basket, and the man walking the dog, and the postman delivering the mail. So it's like, yeah, humble sage with true and equal vision sees lady with baby buggy and baby with the Lord in the heart. You know, mailman with the Lord in his heart, dog with the Lord in his heart, the tree, the squirrel. You know what we got around here, right? So, you know, the material world is an entangling place. But we hear that I was reading this article. They say if you hear the birds in your backyard early in the morning and sometime early after dark, there's probably some pretty good things going on. And they go, even though that we know that these birds, they're sitting there, they're chirping and going, this spot is taken. Although they're communicating with each other, they're communicating. Well, like one bird is at one location and the other bird's at the other location. Have you ever noticed a call and response? A call and response. Yeah, but they're really pretty limited. It's really pretty territorial. Where's the word? It's their hard struggle for existence, actually. But we think, oh, that sounds very nice. It's very beautiful. The birds are chirping. But they're basically like, this spot's taken. This is my nest. They're looking for their mate or looking for another mate, prospective mate. Stay away from here, or I'll have to defend my territory like that. So that's what they're actually communicating. Where's the warm? But to us, it sounds kind of nice. They think, oh, how nice the birds are chirping. Everything's in the sound of music, the sound of music and meter and mathematics, which is true. So basically, the color and the shape of the flowers and this sweet singing, the chirping of the birds, these are compared to be Krishna's artistic qualities. So those are specific qualities inherent in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's one thing they've been mentioning quite a bit in the lectures that I've been listening to. And now just a couple more verses, we're going to be going into another chapter again. So Sanaka Rishi, he's inquiring from Sutta Goswami. And Sutta Goswami, he's narrating what Sri Maitreya Muni is speaking to Vidura, that Sri Maitreya is a friend of Srila Vyasadeva. So, of course, he's glad and by the inquiries of Vidura and is eager to disseminate this knowledge, this information to Vidura. And so what they're talking about is the meditation on the form of the Lord in the heart. So it's described that he has an exquisite yellowish garment that goes down to his ankles. And first one meditates on the lotus feet of the Lord. And that's one thing that they were mentioning. This is one of the the 9 aspects of devotional service, 9 processes of devotional service. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Pada, Sevanam. So Pada, Sevanam, worshiping the lotus feet of the Lord. So meditating on the lotus feet of the Lord. And so that's also explained, described. Once you meditate on the lotus feet of the Lord, who is decorated with, the thunderbolt, the lotus flower, wheel of a chariot, flag, festoon, a lotus flower. Let's see, did I mention anything? They just mentioned a few things. They didn't mention everything. So the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord has these specific symbols on them. Conch shell. And so that's described. And then his nails, they're an exquisite, beautiful, reddish type of a hue of his nails. So this is also explained in Brahma Samhita, where they're talking about how the impersonalists, meditating on the impersonal void, they can hardly even approach even the shining effulgence coming from the Lord's beautiful lotus nails, which has the reddish hue. So there's also described how his complexion is like that of a blue lotus. And so it's described that one begins to meditate on the lotus feet of the Lord. And Naikatma explained this too really good. That just like in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, is meditating on the lotus feet of the Lord, then rising a little higher to the ankles and the thighs, right? And then the yogi meditates on his waist. He has a broad waist with a girdle. a golden or silver girdle, which is adorns his yellowish, the upper portions of his yellowish dhoti, his yellowish garments. And then it's explained one by one. Meditate on the limbs, the arms of the Lord, who's carrying the symbols of the conch shell, or the club, the wheel of a chariot or disc, the conch shell, and the lotus flower. And it's stated that one should meditate on each of the limbs of the Lord separately. And that's one thing I was thinking, because in other descriptions of meditating on the Lord in the heart, or Paramatma, it's also described that ultimately you're going to envision everything, right? The shining face. Oh, yeah, that was another thing that you're talking about that I was familiar with. There's specific qualities that were described in meditating on Vishnu, the Lord in the heart, is that his teeth were like jasmine buds, and he has a broad chest and a slender waist, kind of standing in a threefold bent form, right? And so, so that's the other thing that we're getting to, is that actually our minds are actually really fickle and really disturbed, especially in the age of Kali. When we sit down to meditate on the form of the Lord, if we can do that, right, it's not actually really going to be for very long anyways. It's not going to be for like 10,000 years like Karna Muni did, or was prescribed in the Vedas, or the descriptions in Srimad Bhagavatam in previous ages in Satya Yuga. But the form of description is there. That's why they're saying that the Bhakti Yogi, he sees the form of the Lord within himself, who's walking and laying down, performing activities. So that's what they were describing, that these are the pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, just like what we have in Krishna book. Just the way that Krishna book starts, the demigods, they go to Svetpadvip and chant the Purusha Shukta prayers, and this Lord on the milk ocean he's Kashara Dakshay Vishnu. That's why he's on the milk ocean. He's in the heart. He's a super soul, so he's also on Svetpadvip. So he gives the instructions to the demigods and to his most intimate associates to take birth within the Yadu dynasty, right? And so then as things continue, Kamsa, he's steering the chariot for his sister Devaki and his newly brother-in-law, his new brother-in-law, because his brother-in-law and sister had just gotten married. And actually, the voice from the sky is actually Narada Muni. It says, "You fool, you rascal. Right? Don't you know that the seventh child of your sister is going to kill you?" So immediately he was going to kill his sister. So Vyasadeva speaks to Kamsa, King Kamsa. So King Kamsa was always sending demons and causing atrocities. And so Nanda Maharaj and all the inhabitants of Vrindavan, they actually moved locations, right? They went to the Taliban forest. They actually loaded up their carts and moved locations. Oh, yeah, what Vyasadeva was telling Kamsa is that just like on a full moon night, the clouds may appear to be passing by the moon very quickly. So it's really hypnotic. The moon appears to be moving. So similarly, the soul, the self, appears to be engaged in activities and moving, but it's stationary. Yeah, it's stated that in the Vedas that the soul is fixed, is non-movable. It's the material energy which is actually in motion. The other verses that are coming up. The Supreme Lord is described as being the creator, the manifester, the originator of the three modes of material nature, and the controller of the three modes of material nature, that he himself is not under the control of the material nature or the three modes of material nature. So that's a specific position, right? Jai Gaur Nitai Ki Jai. So maybe if there's something I kind of think of, anybody have any questions or comments? It's subject to discussion. You have a question?
Yeah. I was just wondering, why doesn't the Krishna book that Kshirodakashayi Vishnu would incarnate and lighten the burden on the load? Why didn't it say that Krishna would? Because Krishna is the source of all incarnations.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. He would say, like, I would advance, or I will advance in the form of Lord Krishna, But yeah, the Supreme Lord is one. He's absolute. And they're also saying, in one sense, on the absolute platform, because we're energy of Krishna, but we're not the supreme controller, the supreme absolute truth, the total manifestation of all material and spiritual manifestations and incarnations. We're just tiny little pieces or fragments of Krishna's energy. But there's no difference on the absolute platform, although there's a hierarchy. Although everything is absolute, like the inhabitants of Narayan and Narayana Loka and Vaikuntha Loka, the different Janardana, Shri but yet there's a hierarchy from what would appear to be higher to lower, where like Krishna Loka is the most highest spiritual planet, and realization of Krishna is the most intimate, loving relationship that the living entity can have with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and that's the original position, rather than that of servitude. But they're saying that according to the devotee's desire and the devotee's mood, whether servitorship or friendship, conjugal love, parental affection, neutrality, if one's is actually attracted to like the forms of Nrsinga or Vamanadev or Varaha, Lord Varaha, or Narayan, or Lord Ramchandra, like that. So, as I know I mentioned this before, every living entity is attracted to a specific, unique quality of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Have you ever heard that before? That's what, yeah, each living entity, and living entities are innumerable. But yeah, each living entity has like this specific, attraction to a specific, unique feature, which is specific to that living entity. But yeah, you had a question or comment, or? Oh, add on to that, yeah. Uh-huh.
So you had mentioned that the demigods, they go to see Lord Vishnu at the milk ocean, and then they pray the Purushushukta prayers. So then at that time, their faith is in him as Lord Vishnu, and so then he tells them, don't worry, I will come, like that. So then I thought it connected with this point about the rasa, that these demigods primarily have a relationship with Vishnu, and that he assured them that I will advent. So then that ends up being important, because he tells them, you also advent with me. And then they actually also take birth into Gokula, Vrindavan, and the Yadu dynasty, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, that's nice. Because Maharaj would mention this because they were always thinking they never thought that Krishna was God, but that they just loved Krishna. But Krishna was performing so many wonderful activities, like killing so many different demons. They're thinking, Providence has saved our supreme, our son. Krishna should have been killed by this demon, but this demon was saved. Vishnu, Narayan saved our baby Krishna. So they had forms of Narayan, Lakshmi Narayan, that they worship. And then we were reading the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam that they were doing certain things like for Krishna's safety, they would fan Krishna with a yak tail fan, with the chamara, the whisk, and things like that. But they were always thinking that by providence, Narayan has saved Krishna again. Right? They were never thinking that Krishna was God himself. Yeah, you had another comment or comment? Okay. And did that answer your question? Yeah. All right. Yeah, because that was the whole idea about hearing about the pastimes of the Lord as meditating on the form of the Lord Vishnu within himself. Actually, we can do it. A lot of devotees, they say they can't do it, or how far they can get with it, or that they just simply fall asleep. But the point of the fact of the matter is, we can't really do it for long periods of time. Try to visualize, the Paramatma and his specific, what do we call it? What he's holding? Yeah, his weapons. Yeah, his club, symbols. Yeah, symbols. Yeah, that's it. The symbols of the Lord. And his contentness on his smiling face. That he's satisfied. He's within the heart of every living entity. He's within the atom of all of the material energy. And the specific qualities that these are Krishna's separated material energy, the earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, false ego, bhumi, apo, vayu. And so that's the thing that Prabhupada was saying a lot. Where how Krishna is the supreme controller, there's no other controller above Krishna. Krishna says, Maya Dakshina Prakriti, this material energy mind, it is very difficult to overcome. Devi Esha Gunamani, Mama Maya Dharatya. But those who have surrendered on him can easily crush beyond it. So he exists before the creation. He exists and maintains the creation and continues to exist after the dissolution and annihilation of the creation eternally, over and over and over again. So that the universe is the Mahatattva eternally manifest and unmanifest. And there was never a first time to this process because that's a material conception. So yeah, we've been in the material world a long time. The material world existed a long time. It's eternally manifest and non-manifest. And the living entities, they're eternally taking bodies and beginning their activities. And again, entering into the body of Mahavishnu. Oh yeah, and Krishna assures his devotee, one who returns to my abode, he never again comes back to this miserable material world full of miseries. the hard struggle for existence. So we're doing a pretty good job in our polished animal form of life with our struggle for existence. But everything is just simply, it leads to another entanglement. Just as the fly gets caught in a spider's web, so he tries to get out, and he just becomes more and more entangled. So one becomes more and more entangled in Maya's complexities. Any other comments or questions, subject for discussion? Or, yeah, you have a question?
So I really like this point that you said that the meditation on the form in this age can be executed quite vigorously with the hearing of the Leelas. And I thought that harmonized with the purport that we heard a few days ago where Prabhupada says that in this age, hearing is more important than thinking. On this, on the point of this, he began to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead seated in everyone's heart. There was a lecture that I was hearing, and Prabhupada was emphasizing that the Samadarshana platform is after having perfected yoga. Just as Kardama Muni, he had done his gradual meditation on the form of the Lord, and then he actually received darshan. Actually, twice, isn't it?
Right, yeah.
And then now he's actually getting this benediction or this potency to see the super soul in everyone's heart. So it is quite an elevated platform. And I was just wondering about that if you can kind of elaborate on this idea that
yeah, well, we can visualize this, a simple way. Remember when we were kids, we had these little printers. You put in the ink, right? And you had different letters and different shapes and symbols and things. You put in ink, right? Just on our regular experience, take our ink stamp Paramount on everybody, on everything. When I was in India, there were some trees. Somebody painted Krishna with blue letters, in Sanskrit and in English, So, but, if you're really talking about a supreme person who's actually real, who's moving, he's living, he's breathing, you know what I mean? It's not just like a stamp or an image, I was thinking like Krishna in my heart, we had there was a deity downstairs, or Krishna with the cow, and I keep thinking when I see that, a real person, a real person with a real personality, so immediately all of a sudden you kind of get on like the peer pressure kind of thing. You want to be accepted, like, oh, cool, here's a really cool guy, right? But like a real living person, rather than, only just an image. But there's a start with everything to try to remember, from whatever and wherever the mind wanders through its flickering and unsteady nature. One must certainly withdraw it, bring it under control of self. And I was thinking about that picture, that I have on my shelf. It's either on my bedstead or it's on my shelf. It's a picture that I got from India. It's a picture of Krishna holding a flute and a lotus flower. That was like really pretty cool because I was looking for a picture like this. And the store at Raman Rady, where we were going, it was where Krishna has his transcendental playground with the sand there. And there was a store that had the picture of Krishna, but they didn't have any other pictures. Just this picture of Krishna. Right? Usually this picture of Brahma, the demigods, or Rama, or Hanuman or something. And there's usually a variety of devotional pictures. But this one was this this picture of Govinda holding the flute, in different sizes and everything. I'm going, well, this is great. This is exactly what I was looking for. In fact, I found a whole story that has just exactly this, and only just exactly this. So that's the picture that I have. It's kind of embossed, and it has some metal ink on it and some colored ink and things too. It's embossed. It has glass on it. I think I broke the glass. I think the glass in the frame broke, but I've got the frame. It's like a nice golden frame. But yeah, I kind of think of that picture. They're saying, what is it? Somehow or other, think of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Prabhu was saying, for those people that come to the movement, there's the inquisitiveness, the secrets of the absolute truth, the distress, and those in need of money. So he was saying, come to Krishna consciousness and surrender, become a devotee under any circumstances, whether you're interested or whether you're distressed or out of craziness. I don't know if maybe my inquisitiveness was out of craziness due to my LSD, meditating on Brahman and not realizing that I'm actually really going insane. Like that, but somehow or other, that's one thing Prabhupada was saying was the hippies are kind of like the gopis. They're giving up everything for their LSD, Yeah, but had some side effects. So a lot of these people went crazy. If you go to the temple in San Francisco and go out on Harinam, you'll get a good example of how crazy those people are in Haight-Ashbury in San Francisco. Oh, they're really crazy. The street people that are hanging around it, they're out of their minds. Yeah, they still got people that are still doing it. Yeah, and they're still pretty crazy. Yeah, so it's a good reminder of just exactly what we've actually been saved from. Some our artificial impositions of the mind and our misinterpretations or whatever misconceptions of spiritual life that we had. Whatever realization we get or we got, we didn't have any real positive engagement for it. Especially one like we're way off base, we're way in illusion, we're so far away from from the standard, which is true. The standards given in Srimad Bhagavatam, the hills and the oceans giving forth valuable gems and pearls, and there's regulated rainfall during Brisket's rain, and the earth became beautiful, and the agriculture was in abundance. The people, they didn't engage in a sinful activity. They're saying what in Satya Yuga, only 1/4 persons were sinful, and then by 1/4 increment in each age. So right now in Kali Yuga, 3/4 persons are all sinful, and 1/4 and less persons are pious or devotees. And actually, it's even less than that. It's very, very rare. So they have most people. So the earth, it's not responding. There's catastrophes. There's wars. They're maintaining slaughterhouses and brothels and breweries. So these weren't done before in previous ages. This is all sinful activity. So, yeah, way far away from the actual real standard, right? And not even really knowing it or realizing it. We were brought up this way and trained this way and educated like this in our school systems and stuff. We're accustomed to, wine, woman, and song, and eating meat and engaging in these activities. But you get some positive, some sort of insight about that, but what to do about it. It's like, so, well, the best thing is become a devotee and stop those activities, but with no actual real positive engagement. It's just It's just another one of those things like, oh yeah, I used to think about that, think like that. But we're actually really very careful to not engage in those things. We're very careful. Devotees, they don't like to eat anything that's not offered. We don't like to do anything that's not associated with devotional service or hearing about Krishna. So does that make sense? Any other questions or comments for discussion? Okay, so we can end class there. Srimad Bhagavatam class ki jai.